Now, before I get right into this video, I hope all of you had a great new year. You should all leave a like and subscribe and leave a comment if you haven't already. And let me know what fight you think is just the best fight in Bleach. And just be on the lookout for more of my content in the near future. I plan on attempting to do weekly uploads as soon as possible and dropping bigger projects in the future. With that out of the way, let's get right into the video. After rereading and watching the new adaptation of the Bleach anime, Bleach is kind of a big series and has some of the most memorable, if not the best fights in Shonen Jump history, second to maybe Dragon Ball and Naruto. However, some of these intense fights, such as Yamamoto versus the Fake Yhwach, where you finally get the reveal of Yamamoto's Bankai abilities, and the payoff of waiting several hundreds of chapters to see it, it is kind of a big deal, and the death of the head captain weighs heavily on the audience as he fails to take down his sworn enemy and to uphold his duty as head captain. And we finally learn the backstory of Genryusai Yamamoto and his sworn enemy, the Quincy King Yhwach. I like the anime's portrayal of this part because it really does show like why Yhwach despises Yamamoto because he slaughtered all of his people, or the insane solo that Aizen pulls off when he single-handedly bodies the entire Goten 13 and demonstrates the insane power cliff between him and the captains. It just shows how awesome and how insane his power truly is. There are more fights that kind of show this and show the hype that Bleach brings to the table, and series creator Tite Kubo really does a great job of delivering this to the audience. However, there's one fight in particular that changes and surpasses all of them. It makes Bleach as a series look completely different, and that fight is Kenpachi Zaraki versus Ichigo Unohana. Now, I kind of want to talk about the anime and manga versions separately. The bloodbath that ensues from these two devils is honestly beautiful, brutal, and yet so simple. This fight really does highlight how fantastic of a writer Tite Kubo really is. The foreshadowing revealing that Unohana was always the one person Kenpachi respected, being Yachiru, is insane. Unohana being one of the older Captain class Soul Reapers second to Yamamoto. You constantly see that multiple Captain class Shinigami and normal Soul Reapers are afraid of Unohana, and originally this was supposed to be just like a normal gag scene. However, we learn later on that she constantly does this to represent her Yachiru face, or her true face. And every time we see Unohana have her clothes or hair down, it's always conspicuously covering where her scar is. We even see when she talks to Isane, her hair is also covering her chest again, which is kind of strange to think about, but Kubo thinking about this far ahead, but it also not only hides the wound and the reasoning for Kenpachi's potential and power being limited. The fight itself showing that she was the original first Kenpachi during the original Blood War. All this is revealed in just a couple chapters, but it's done so well that it feels like Unohana Kenpachi's backstory being explored during the fight just shows how much they both desired the same thing and how they both took different paths to achieve the same goal of enjoying a fight with someone strong. Something that's just so simple and yet it's just both tragic for both characters. Unohana having to deal with the sin of making Kenpachi weaker, and Kenpachi having to become weaker just to enjoy any fight is sad. They only can enjoy and explore happiness through bloodshed and combats, and only they understand how much it means for both of them. Honestly, when I first read this, it felt kind of like a sad Twilight love story, but the way Unohana phrases it is just sad. The idea that only one can leave alive and the other dies because there can only be one true Kenpachi is just so cool and insane to me because it just feels right. The fact that Kubo has the balls to kill off Unohana, a captain, like that when other sealers would, is probably just the coolest thing to me. But the most insane part to me are the visuals of this fight. The manga goes out of his way to just go insane. This fight is so iconic and amazing for how detailed and beautiful it looks. Kenpachi and Unohana's sick and twisted faces as they enjoy smashing and cutting each other looks gorgeous. By the way, if you didn't know this, Unohana's face she makes during the beginning of the fight is just so cool. Seriously, you can ask anyone, that just awesome. The fact that her Bankai reveal is also even harder. Now, it just feels natural yet surreal that we just see it out of nowhere, but it feels so casual and I love it. Despite the fact that this fight was Unohana's standout moment, I felt sadness yet relief that although she died, her name lived on through Kenpachi Zaraki. This is her debut as Kenpachi, and yet Kenpachi is the name that continues on. Every time I think of Zaragi Kenpachi, I always just think of Unohana because that's who's supposed to live on through. Now, onto the anime. The anime did this fight amazing and way better than I thought they could. The animation was great, but I'm glad that they managed to use and trace the manga panels and in certain scenes even surpass them. I also prefer the skeleton scene in the anime and the way the Bankai looks and appears. They really do a better job of showing what her ability really is. The emotion, the tension goes really in depth. These are the voices of both Kenpachi, and yet it fits them perfectly. When they yell in anger, you can feel the fury and sadness. And bro, when Unohana said Bankai, I literally and the anime really does a stellar job of just showcasing just how awesome it is. The voice acting was probably the best part of the anime experience and the only reason I believe the anime surpassed the manga for me. It just goes to show how the anime can do the right job of adapting the manga if given enough time and resources to do it. Also, the dub and the sub were insane, and honestly props to the dub because they really did surpass the sub in this fight. Kate Higgins was amazing. This is like her first time doing a role that I think that just feels like powerful, and they feel villainous in the role, but she just does it perfectly. And I think that this might be her best role besides Sakura, and even then I think she surpassed that. And although the writing in this fight is simple, it far surpasses anything previously shown or afterwards, in my opinion. No fight can make me or the audience feel emotions or as hype as it does. The insaneness, the coolness, it feels as emotional as the reveal of everything but the rain. But the visuals far surpass any other fight in the 1,000-Year Blood War, including Yamamoto versus Yhwach, or even Gerard versus everyone, or Ichigo versus Yhwach. When the anime was running during November, I was honestly really patient yet impatient to see this fight, as I was worried about whether or not the anime could replicate the manga's dark and sinister tone, but the staff did a phenomenal job and surpassed it. Honestly, I can't wait for Cour 2 to come out to see like how they interpret like Gremi versus Kenpachi, as I think that fight will really determine if the anime can surpass the manga, because if it does, then it just flops. But anyways, I do think that this fight definitely changed Bleach for the better, as it made it more darker, and it gave us such a cool like little send-off to a captain that we really didn't know much about, but even with the little information we got, I think it was worth it. Yachiru Unohana, or Retsu Unohana, she died. However, Kenpachi, no, the Kenpachi still lives on. And that's what matters most. Now, if you haven't already, go check out my other Bleach and Naruto videos. And if you haven't already, thanks so much for watching, and I hope you like this video. Let me know if you want to see any more Bleach content. And thank you. Bankai Minazuki 雑教はこれにておしまい。